So I promised you some time ago that we would bring you regular episodes on how to manage your money better. I'm really happy to tell you that starting now, Money Love will be a regular feature. And the point of Money Love is to help you manage your money better, to love your money more, so that your money can love you back. And we're calling it Money Love because I think it's important to show your money some love because you work so hard for it. And if you manage your money right, the money will start to give you returns, and that will really matter in the long term. We've also had a really rough couple of years. A lot of people have lost jobs. Many people have had to take pay cuts. People who work as freelancers or in industries that have taken a hit right now are having to live with smaller incomes. And then there are the others. I know who you are, the ones whose incomes have stayed steady, but you've managed to save a lot because you're not going out drinking, you're not spending 350 rupees on a fancy cup of coffee twice a week. So you've managed to save a bit, and we're also going to tell you how you can invest that money that you have saved. Now, let me quickly also, and I've told you once in a previous video, but let me tell you why I feel so strongly about this. I feel strongly about this because before I took up general news, I spent about a decade covering personal finance as a reporter and an editor and an anchor, mutual funds, insurance, how to basically manage your money, how to take control of your finances, because I believe that when you're in control of your money, it gives you a sense of independence that nothing else really can, especially the women. So I've decided now is the time to sort of open up that box of experience and see how it can be of use to you. Now, before we go further, I have to tell you we have a partner on this program. Our partnership is with Frio. It is a brand new digital banking experience to help you get the most out of your money. So we thank Frio for coming on board and helping us do this show. You know, the point of Frio also is to make things accessible to you, all things money, so that you understand your money better and you're in better control of your money. All right, so let's get straight to it. What are we going to do this week? So in our first episode, we're going to talk about just how to save more. Right? Because like I said, we're looking at a very different environment at this point where we're making perhaps less money than we were before the pandemic hit us. So how do we manage to squeeze savings out of lower income? And it's possible to do so. So the first thing you need to do, and this actually everybody should do, the first thing you should do is write down all your expenses. And this is a tedious, annoying, painful job, but it has to be done, guys. Somebody has to do it. So if you find it really annoying and you don't want to have to sit with a diary and write everything down, what you can do is you can take a look at your bank statements, see, you know, if you're making a lot of transfers, see where those transfers are going. There are some apps that will allow you to sort of categorize this into food or, you know, whether you're shopping online or where the money is being spent, and it will give you categories of where your money is being spent. What you can also do, you can look at your card swipes, or if you're using wallets, so you're doing sort of a UPI Pay or a Google Pay or something like that, you can take a look at that statement as well and see where all of the money is going. Now, I'll tell you why you need to do this, because remember, we're trying to increase our savings, especially for those people who say that they don't have any money left at the end of the month. So what you need to do is to be able to write down where all of your money is going and then split it into 3 categories. Okay, so your 3 categories that you're going to split it into is, one is the things that you need that you cannot do without. So your house EMI, for example, or your house rent, or school fees that you're paying, or electricity or water, or all of these things. These are needs. You can't do without them. You can't write them out of your life. You can't choose not to pay these things, right? So these are needs. They go into one category. The second category is wants. Wants is the stuff you order from outside, your subscriptions to all of the OTT platforms. You got Netflix, you got Amazon, you also got Apple TV. So you're spending all of this money, add it all up, see what that money is coming up to. If you're the type of person who buys imported fruit and cheese and you're spending money on those sort of things, all of those things are wants, things that you can do without. And nobody's saying that you have to cut them out, but it's good to know where that money is going. And then, of course, there's the last category, which is the money that you save, hopefully, and the money that you use to pay back your loans. That goes into your last category. So you've got 3 categories. You've got needs, you've got wants, and you've got the saving and the loan repayment into 3 categories. Now, once you do this, there is a formula that is used by a lot of investment advisors, and you can find more information on this on the internet if you want. It's called the 50-30-20 rule, right? So 50% of everything you make your monthly income needs to go towards your needs, which should include what you're spending on housing. So whether that's the EMI that you're paying every month or the rent that you're paying every month, that should be within the 50%. So all your payments, all your bills, everything that has to be paid as your needs goes into the 50% category in your pie chart. That's going to pop up in your pie chart, and that is your needs. 30% has to go towards your wants, and the remaining 20% has to either be savings or loans that you pay back. Once you've got this chart, if you find that you're spending more on wants, maybe you can tighten that budget a little more. If you're spending, if your money is not exactly allied this way, then you know you have to cut down on some things in order to have that 20% left at the end of the month to save. And this is where you find the change under your couch cushions, by using this pie chart and using the 50-30-20 formula. So it's going to take some time. It actually takes about a month to sort of see it. It takes more than a month to sort of see a pattern in your spending. But as you put it into these categories, you'd be like, whoa, okay. When the first time I did this, I remember I was, I just got married at that time, and I was spending a lot of money on imported cheese and on imported fruits and all of these fancy things, because all of these supermarkets had just popped up. They were importing a lot of food. Carbon footprint and a lot of money was going in that. So I decided to cut it out and to only buy seasonal, regular, normal, fruits that you get, and cheese that's made in India. And I cannot tell you how much money I saved. It's one of the things that I recommend. So as soon as you do this, this exercise, you will learn that there are some pockets where you're spending money that you didn't really realize. And as soon as you become mindful of it, you'll start to cut down automatically, and you'll start to find yourself with an extra bit of savings at the end of the month. So that's our first job. We're going to start finding the money in our bank accounts. And then once you've got that money set aside, you can start investing. Now, in the episodes that come up further, we're going to talk about the different types of investments. So we'll go through what mutual funds are, what equity, stock market, all of these things, and we'll take you through how you can get started in all of these things. Now, before you do that, I'm going to give you a checklist, and this is important. I would like you to write it down, but since this is a video that's going to stay on the internet, you don't have to write it down. You can keep coming back and looking at it, right? So before you start any sort of investment, there are 3 things that I would personally like you to look after. Because when you start an investment, you don't want to have to break it for an emergency. So you start putting money in and saying, okay, I'm going to invest 5,000 rupees every month. I would hate for you to take that money out because suddenly you find yourself in need of cash. So how to do that? By putting these 3 things aside. So the first thing that you put aside is an emergency fund, which is, remember those needs we talked about? Needs into 6. So 6 months worth of needs go into an emergency fund. So if you don't have that money set aside, that's the first thing you have to do before you start investing, right? Needs into 6 goes into an emergency fund. Now, if you have to take a pay cut, you take a break from work, you don't have to break your investments because you have this emergency fund to dip into. The next thing to do is health insurance. You will be surprised how many people in our country blow through their savings because there's a sudden, like you meet with an accident, you have to pay money for the cast, and there's a surgery or something like that, and then suddenly all of your savings are gone and you're breaking all of your investments. Buy health insurance for your entire family. You get a tax deduction on it, and it just saves you so much pain, and it's really important. So that's an important thing to look after as well. And then, of course, there's life insurance, which we will talk about a little later, which you can do to make sure that your family is taken care of. And that's a separate thing. So your life insurance and your investments are 2 separate things. So this is a 3, this checklist we're going to keep coming back to, and I'll keep reminding you of this because everybody should do this. You have to have these 3 things before you start investing. And I know that's a lot of information for our first episode and our first show, but let me do a quick recap, right? So if you're complaining that you don't have savings, or you're saying that I'm not going to invest right now, I'm going to wait until I build my savings and then invest, this is what you have to do. Write down everything that you spend your money on, club it into our pie chart, 50-30-20. In that 20%, now you have savings and the money that you're using to service your loans. So we'll also talk about a little later on how to service your loans and how to manage your loans better. But now you've got your savings and you know where your savings are. Before you start investing, you need to do 3 things. You need to set aside an emergency fund, which you can take some time to build. you need to buy health insurance, and you need to buy life insurance if you have dependence on your money right now. A lot of people might love you, but is there someone dependent on your salary to be able to live their lives? Those are the people you have to buy insurance for. You have to buy insurance for yourself so that those people are looked after, right? So this is what we've talked about on this particular, episode. Coming up on our next episode, we're going to talk about first-time investors or people who are really young and have just started working, and how putting aside a little bit of money right now can make a massive difference, and how to get started and where to put that money. That's coming up on our next episode. Remember, of course, before we log off, we have our partnership with Frio, which is a new digital banking experience with the aim to make money more accessible to you on cool financial products and services. Leave me a note if there's anything else you want to talk about. If you have questions about what you heard in this episode, it would be my pleasure to answer your questions in the next episode and the episodes to come after that. Thank you for watching. Take care of your money.